Ms. Mathebula, two senseless killings. We're not only talking about Tshegofatso Pule here, we're also talking about Naledi Pangindao. These two cases, very gruesome in nature. What would an organization like yours be responsible for, or what would your role be in these two cases?
Thank you. Good morning to you, Ms. Kolimgambe, and good morning to the listeners out there. I must say that these two gruesome murders of women that have been reported on social media and have been reported to the Commission for Gender Equality as well are matters that are unfortunately happening in our country when we are actually having a constitution that is quite clear that if everyone is actually equal before the law. So there is no one in this country at this time that should actually be able to take someone else's life like that. The matter of Tshegofatso Pule from Redeport, as well as Naledi Pangindao, who is a mother of three, these are matters that were not supposed to happen. But if you look at them, they are GBV-related cases, and they are met with a lot of criticism. And our organization is going to use the powers that we have, or that we are taking from the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, as well as the Act, to actually look into these two matters that have happened in South Africa, and to actually make sure that we bring those that are found to be responsible or the perpetrators or offenders. We will bring them to law.
Ms. Mathebula, the President made reassurances at a past gender-based violence summit that was the first of its kind in the country. Problems were diagnosed, their solutions were proposed. What's come of that?
Yes, there was a presidential GBV and femicide plan that the country adopted. And also there were a number of protests by activists, by various organizations, and these were they were calling the end to gender-based violence and femicide in the country. But also, the Commission for Gender Equality has made several written submissions to Parliament, especially to the Portfolio Committee on Portfolio Justice and Constitutional Development Portfolio Committee. Looking at the bill, we have a bill that we are currently talking about over and above what the country is doing. And this bill is called Criminal Law or Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Bill. Our effort is to make sure that this bill is amended so that if there is no law or a piece of legislation that is amended to look at the kind of gender-based violence issues, as well as killings, gruesome killings that are happening in the country, no one will actually take the law seriously. So let's quickly just go through what we have submitted. We are actually saying that we need to monitor and evaluate these pieces of legislation and the practices by the organs of states at all levels, national, regional, as well as local levels. We need to make sure that these organs of state are functionary, they have the law, they are able to implement the law from the South African police up to the courts.
Ms. Mathebula, let me just interrupt you there, and I'm sorry for this because of time constraints. While you evaluate the country's legislation in as far as gender-based violence is concerned, South Africa's femicide rate is reported to be 5 times higher than the global average, which means that perpetrators are not waiting for legislators to come up with appropriate laws. People are dying, young women are dying. I need to know from you, what is it that your organization has done to find out what it is that drives South African men to do these kinds of things?
Yes, our organization is currently strengthening our research capacity in terms of making sure that we understand the reasons, what are the structural and what are the structural issues that are causing, young men or men to be so violent towards their partners. I think that's the first thing that we need to understand in the country.
And what are your findings in that regard?
The findings at the current moment is that, most of the people that are actually committing these kinds of crimes are people that have been subjected themselves to some kind of violence when they grew up as young boys and as young men, and not knowing the other way of handling, issues in their house and looking at how their fathers have been handling issues, at home. So they think that violence or, beating a woman is the only solution to actually, settle, some disputes at home. So I think that's the first finding. The second finding is that during the lockdown, I think a number of people haven't been accessing, alcohol and all of that. These recent killings are actually showing that ever since there was an unban of alcohol, people went in and the gruesome murder, the first one that happened on Monday evening, was the reason why we thought that this is related to the fact that that man was very drunk and actually beat and stabbed the woman to death. And this murder happened on Monday evening, on the day of the unban of alcohol. Right. So we need to look at that as well in the country.
Ms. Mathebula, thank you very much for your time. We'll leave it there.